Meanwhile, Malacanang stressed that President Rodrigo Duterte respects the rights of the protesters, expressing their opposition to the Marcos burial at the Hero Cemetery. Communications Assistant Secretary Marie Banag said the directive of the president is clear: allow the rallyists to hold freely their mass actions.
The instructions of the president is very clear that he respects the right of citizens to protest against the Marcos burial. The protesters don't need to secure rally permits in fear of being evicted. And the president emphasized that he may not agree on the opinions of the protesters, and he may not agree on what they say, but he will protect their right to say it. And that is how he expressed our democracy.
As thousands of protesters gathered in Luneta from various parts of the metro and nearby provinces, other rallyists from different parts of the country aired their support, including the president's hometown. Aya Macalma has more of the story.
About 100 people converged along Rojas Avenue, Freedom Park in Davao City earlier, representing different groups from the southern Mindanao region, which were composed of students, members of the religious sector, martial law victims, and some journalists in support of the Black Friday protest rally to denounce a burial of former President Ferdinand Marcos at the libingan ng mga bayani last week. While the assembly acknowledged that the former strongman has already been interred, they still want to show their objection to the public, particularly in President Rodrigo Duterte's hometown, that the move should never have happened. With all the human rights violation the former chief executive committed, the crowd walked for 50 meters in one part of the Freedom Park and conducted a 2-hour program that concluded with a candle lighting ceremony. The Bayan Ko song was also rendered, and a noise barrage was done for a few minutes in the middle of the program to air their disapproval. Even some motorists showed their support by honking their vehicles and raising their fists. Traffic was barely affected along Rojas Avenue, but there was still the presence of police personnel to ensure the orderly conduct of the protest. For PTV News, this is Waywaya Macalma, Davao City.
In the news tonight, protesters braved the rains this afternoon to condemn the clandestine burial of ousted President Ferdinand Marcos at the libingan ng mga bayani in Taguig City. The rallyists converged at Manila's Rizal Park for the Black Friday rally, which started about 4 in the afternoon. The protesters included students from various colleges and universities who were still in their school uniforms. More of this report from Jervis Manahan.
Thousands of protesters gathered in the Quirino Grandstand today to condemn the burial of former President Marcos in the libingan ng mga bayani. Prior to the main event, students from the University Belt burnt an effigy of the late dictator in Menjola as a sign of protest to the recent Supreme Court decision allowing Marcos's interment at the Hero Cemetery. They proceeded to Luneta, where a program was held as indignation to the burial. Most of the attendees were either martial law victims or students of prestigious universities. Several personalities attended, including veteran director Joel Lamangan, Makabayan Bloc congressmen, and survivors of the martial law. Social activist Juana Change said she was saddened by the Supreme Court decision and said that Marcos should have been buried in Ilocos instead.
Kung ang taon nakarating sa buwan, yung pa ba naman bangkayang hindi mo kayang hukayin? Di ba dapat siyang hukayin? Ilipat siya, dalhin siya sa Ilocos, doon bagay siya. But not sa libingan ng mga bayani, utang na loob.
Militant Solo Nery Colmenares, on the other hand, said that it's vital for youth members to continue the fight if they don't want another Marcos in Malacanang.
Hindi ito parang laban lang sa nakaraan, kundi laban ito sa hinaharap. Kaya ito ay laban din sa pagpanumbalik ng mga Marcoses sa political power. Kaya marapat lang na napakaraming kabataan ang nandito ngayon para sumama sa pagkilos dahil future din nilang at stake dito kung sakaling maibalik ang mga Marcoses sa Malacanang.
Meanwhile, a handful of pro-Marcos supporters also went to the Rizal Park to counter the anti-Marcos discourse. They believe Marcos should be considered a hero and should be worthy of a spot in the libingan.
Niniwala po kaming bayani si dating Pangulong Marcos sapagkat walang sinumang Pangulo na nakagawa ng kanyang mga naipagawa upang iunlad ang ating bansa noong mga panahon na yon.
His decision
to give military honors to President Marcos was approved by the Supreme Court. So the highest leader of the land, the highest court of the land, approved the decision of giving, burying President Marcos at the libingan ng mga bayani. So ano pang problema?
For the PTV News, Jervis Manahan.